Would you rank Speed Cola higher than Jug? What about Widow's Wine? Double Tap? What about all the other perks? All these questions will be answered in this video because we will be ranking every perk in Black Ops 3 Zombies. These perks will be judged in 4 different categories. Number 1, 1 out of 10 effectiveness. How useful is the perk and how good is the perk? 2, 1 out of 5 price. Is it an expensive perk or is it a cheap perk? 3, 1 out of 5 easiness to obtain. What maps is this perk on? Is it only in the Wonder Fizz? Can you get it from Easter eggs? And 4, from 1 to 5, the rating I like to call crutchness. Do you need to get this perk every game to survive? And can you crutch on the perk? The higher the number out of the 25 possible points, the better the perk. I have all 9 perks written on little pieces of paper, and I put these in a hat, so we're going to draw which perk we rank first. First is going to be Widow's Wine. Widow's Wine was introduced in Black Ops 3 and can do many different things. The biggest being that you get 4 Sentex grenades that can be thrown, or as long as you have them and you get hit, it emits a web around you that freezes and slows down zombies drastically. Another thing that it does is it gives you an upgraded knife, which is a one-shot kill until round 4 and has a chance to freeze zombies. You can also get the grenades back because killing zombies has a chance to drop a blue power-up which will replenish 1 grenade per. 10 out of 10 effectiveness score. The only downside with the perk is the price, which is 4,000 points. But the saying is, you get what you pay for. 1 out of 5 price score. Widow's Wine's perk machine can be found on 3 of the 6 maps: Shadows of Evil, Zetsubu no Shima, and Revelation. And Zetsubu, you can even get it for free. Other maps have it exclusively in the Wonder Fizz machine. 2.5 out of 5 easiness to obtain. Lastly, for the crutchness score, you don't need this perk to play the game, but if you get the chance, you're definitely using this perk. 4 out of 5 crutchness score. This brings Widow's Wine's total to 17.5 out of 25. What is the next perk that we're doing? Quick Revive. Opinions on Quick Revive depend on if you're playing solo or co-op. Solo and co-op will get separate rankings, and I'll take the average of the two to get the final score. For solo play, Quick Revive is essential to playing zombies because it can revive you 3 times a game. Solo score, 9 out of 10 effectiveness. For co-op play, Quick Revive decreases the time it takes for you to revive your teammates. A nice addition, but I never find myself buying it. Co-op effectiveness score, 3 out of 10. So the average score for effectiveness is a 6 out of 10. The price is very cheap. 500 points in solo and 1,500 in co-op. 5 out of 5 price score. Quick Revive's perk machine is available on every map in BO3, giving it a 5 out of 5 easiness to obtain score. And the crutchness rating goes back to separate rankings, where in solo you pretty much need it to play zombies, unless you really don't want to have fun on purpose. And co-op, you don't really need to buy it at all. For solo, it's 5 out of 5. For co-op, it's 1 out of 5. So the average crutchness score is a 3 out of 5. This gives Quick Revive a final score of 19 out of 25, putting it in the same category as Widow's Wine, but just a little bit above. The next perk is gonna be Jug. Juggernog might be the most iconic perk to appear in Zombies history. It's a pretty simple concept. It increases your health from a 3-hit down to a 5-hit down. This perk is very effective at keeping the players alive longer and potentially allowing for high rounds gameplay. 8 out of 10 effectiveness score. The price is also fairly reasonable, set at 2,500 points. It's not the cheapest perk, but it's also not the most expensive perk either. 3 out of 5 price score. Jug's perk machine comes on every map in BO3 because it's essentially mandatory for survival if you want to go to any sort of high round. 5 out of 5 easiness to obtain. The crutchness rating for Jug has to be a 5 out of 5 because you definitely need to buy Jug every game. This gives Juggernog a final score of 21 out of 25, putting it the highest on our list so far. Next perk in line is Deadshot Daiquiri. Deadshot Daiquiri on BO3 is a hit or miss depending on your input. If you're on controller, it snaps your auto aim to the zombies' heads instead of bodies, and if you're on PC, it doesn't do that. On both inputs, it increases hipfire accuracy by 35% and removes sniper sway. Most of those things aren't necessarily noticeable and don't really matter. Effectiveness score, 2 out of 10. The price is not something that it can be knocked for. It only costs 1,500 points, 5 out of 5 price score. Deadshot, however, is not easy to obtain at all. There's not a perk machine on any map except for the giant, and there you have to do a mini Easter egg to obtain it. And even if you do that perk still has a chance to be stamina up instead. It is, however, available from the Wonder Fizz on every map that has one. 1 out of 5 easiness to obtain. Crutchness is also not something I would use to describe this perk. If anything, it might be a crutch to never use this perk. 1 out of 5 crutchness score. This brings the final score for Deadshot to 9 out of 25, putting it the lowest on our list so far. Next up, Stamina. Stamina is also a pretty simple perk. It allows you to sprint faster and for longer. It gets the job done and can be useful on certain maps for certain tasks. 7 out of 10 effectiveness score. Stamina Up is also a pretty cheap perk, costing only 2,000 points, 4 out of 5 price score. Stamina Up's perk machine is available standard on all maps except for the Giant, where you have to do a mini Easter egg to get the chance to get it. 4 out of 5 easiness to obtain. Stamina Up is not a perk that I would necessarily describe as a crutch. Like some of the other perks on here, it's nice to have, but it's not necessary for survival totally. 2.5 out of 5 crutchness score. This gives Stamina Up a grand total of 17.5 out of 25, putting it tied with Widow's Wine in the I like it category. Next to be drawn is Double Tap. Double Tap 2.0 is a perk where you double your damage because it essentially fires 2 bullets at once. It also increases the rate of fire of your gun, and anything that makes guns stronger is going to be a great option in zombies. 8 out of 10 effectiveness score. The price is also relatively cheap, only coming in at 2,000 points. 4 out of 5 price score. Double Tap can be found on all maps in BO3 as well because it's one of the core 4 perks. 5 out of 5 easiness to obtain. And lastly, for crutchness, it depends on the person and the scenario. Personally, I think Double Tap makes guns feel amazing and is definitely a must-have, but it's also one of those perks that you might want to scrap for another one on this list, and maybe replace the effects with Pack-a-Punch. 3 out of 5 crutchness score. Final total for Double Tap brings it in at 20 out of 25, putting it just below Juggernog on the great perk tier. There's 3 more perks left. What's going to be next? Speed Cola. Speed Cola is a simple, satisfying perk. It decreases the time it takes to reload by 50%, and a forgotten aspect of the perk is that it speeds up barrier rebuilding animations. I think that reload speed in any game is one of the best things they can add, and rebuilding barriers faster is a nice touch. Effectiveness score, 7 out of 10. The price is a little bit on the high side, costing 3,000 points. I personally think 3,000 points to just reload a little faster can be a little bit much. 2.5 out of 5 price score. Speed Cola is one of the core 4 perks, so its perk machine is available on every map in BO3. 5 out of 5 easiness to obtain. And finally, for crutchness, you don't need to have this every game to succeed. It's more of a novelty and really, really nice to have. 2.5 out of 5 crutchness score. This gives Speed Cola a final score of 17 out of 25. This puts it on the I like it tier just below Widows and Stamina. 2 perks left. What are we gonna get? It is Electric Cherry. Electric Cherry shocks zombies around the player when they reload, and the shock radius increases based on the number of bullets that were reloaded. This is a useful perk because stunning zombies around you from just reloading is something that directly increases survivability. 7.5 out of 10 effectiveness score. The price is also very cheap, costing only 2,000 points. 4 out of 5 price score. Electric Cherry, however, is not easy to obtain because the perk machine is not on any of the maps in BO3. The only way to obtain it is by getting it from the Wonder Fizz machine. 1 out of 5 easiness to obtain. And lastly, Electric Cherry is not necessarily a crutch perk because you could easily go a game without it, but it's mightily nice to have. 2.5 out of 5 crutchness score. This brings Electric Cherry's total to 15.5 out of 25, bringing up the rear so far on the I like it tier. The last perk is going to be Mule Kick. Mule Kick is another simple one. It gives you a 3rd weapon slot and can be very useful when going to high rounds because you have an additional gun with full ammo in it. However, it also puts you in danger of losing your Mule Kick weapon because if you go down, you lose the perk and thus you lose your 3rd weapon. Effectiveness score, 6 out of 10. Mule Kick is tied for the most expensive perk, costing 4,000 points to obtain. 1 out of 5 price score. Mule Kick is on every map in BO3. 5 out of 5 easiness to obtain. And lastly, the crutchness of Mule Kick can be very subjective considering what you're trying to accomplish in your game. Maybe if you're going to high rounds or you're trying to pack every weapon, it could be a 4 out of 5. But if you're just loading into a game with your friends and trying to mess around and get to round 20, it could be a 1 out of 5. I think 2 out of 5 crutchness score is reasonable. This will give Mule Kick a final score of 14 out of 25, making it the first and last addition to the Getting Sus category. This is my final ranking of perks in Black Ops 3 Zombies. This list is highly subjective, so if you disagree with any of this, let me know by liking and subscribing down below. Thank you guys for watching. See ya.